Well, hi everyone, and a warm welcome back. As always, before we start on today's video, I just want to give a big thank you to the patrons of the channel who help to keep things going. Your support is very, very much appreciated, and you will see your names at the beginning of every video. Now, today's video is going to be about door removal. It wasn't a video I planned on doing initially because it is a fairly basic job, or so I thought. But I've recently seen a couple of these cars where people have tried to remove the doors and they've cut wiring looms in order to do so. And that tells me that what appears to be a simple job is actually not quite so simple. And if this is a job you're thinking of doing, you may want to just look at how I do it to see if it helps you. I also want to remind you, very, very importantly, I am not a professional mechanic. All you're doing is following the jobs that I do for myself on my own vehicles, and you should always seek professional advice before continuing any work on your car. Now, the car we're going to be working on today is another one that I'm afraid we've had to scrap because the bodywork's in such poor condition, especially underneath. There's pretty much nothing left to weld to anymore. So we're going to scrap this car and use the parts to keep other cars going for much longer into the future. Now, of course, when I bought this car, the person I bought it from had already removed tons and tons of parts from it that he wanted to keep, so that's why you see it in this condition. In order to remove the door, you do not have to remove anything off the door itself. So where you see the internal panels removed, you don't need to do that. The door will come off in its entirety. The only things I would suggest to make the job slightly easier and a bit more manageable is to wind your window down before starting. This just helps you to maneuver the door once it's off. And the second thing you need to know is these doors weigh more than a Toyota Prius, and they're almost certainly going to outlast a Toyota Prius. Because of the heavy weight, it may help if you get someone to help you to move the door when it's off. I'm also going to suggest that you put some support underneath the center of the door. Now, all I've done here, you can see this car is up on a trailer and stuck at the end of my yard. All I've done is stuffed some styrofoam underneath just to take the main weight of the door while we're working on it. This will also help to stop that initial drop, which you don't want to happen because it may well drop onto other parts of the bodywork of the car and cause damage. So that's pretty much all you need to know in advance. Of course, the only other thing is what tools are you going to need. And this is a real simple job. You're going to need two tools to complete the entire job from start to finish. One is a regular hammer. A little bit smaller won't hurt if you've got one, but just a general hammer, and a 12mm spanner. Now, if you have a ratchet spanner, this will make the job a lot quicker and a lot easier. And these are a very cheap tool to buy, a worthwhile investment. It allows us to get into some of the tight little spots you're going to need to get into, which you will have trouble getting into with a regular wrench. So that's it. Let's get on with the job. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do with this job is remove the stay bar here. This is what stops your door opening too far, and it's important if it's a windy day to make sure your door is restricted in some way, because once we remove the pin that holds the stay bar, there is nothing to stop this door flying all the way open and perhaps hitting the wing and doing damage, or if you've got a wall or anything else nearby, you're likely to do damage. So just do something to protect your door from flying open too far. You're just going to need your trusty hammer. This is a one-way pin, and it's wedged in by the fact that the hole is slightly smaller than the pin itself. If you need to, protect your paintwork with some tape, and otherwise all you do is tap that pin up. And it'll reach a point where you can just pull it out. The pin is reusable, so put that to one side. Now, from this point, there is nothing to stop that door swinging back. In our case, it's not a problem because where this car and trailer's been left, we've got a fence behind us, so that's going to stop the door flying too far. Now you're going to need your 12mm ratchet spanner. And we're going to start by first of all loosening the 4 bolts. There are 2 per hinge, so it's one here, here, here and here. We'll start off at the bottom. I'm purely going to loosen them at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so the door now is ready to be fully undone and taken off, except for one thing. We've got an electrical cable that transfers power from the main body of the car to the speakers, electric windows, electric mirrors, etc. And we need to separate the two. And this is where some people I've noticed are making the mistake, because they've actually been cutting the cables and then resoldering all the cables after. And there's a lot of cables in there and a lot of work. And worse still, there is no need whatsoever to cut any of the cables. Nearly all manufacturers put a joining plug here, and it's a real easy one to undo. You can see here there's a little lever. Just get 2 fingers around the lever and pull it towards you, and the plug comes out. Like so. The 2 are now separated. I'll just do that one more time. And to plug it back in, if I can get my fingers in there, this is where it would be nice if the door would go further back, and in your case it will. So as you push the plug back in, you'll see the lever try to go up, and to fully plug it in, just push it the remainder of the way, and that's now plugged back in as it should be. So again, a couple of fingers on the lever, pull it towards you, the plug will come out, and now the 2 are separate. Easy as that. Now we can go back to our spanner. Always start at the bottom. The top one will take the weight. If you take out the top ones first, the door will try to fall away from you. This way the hinge remains in place to keep it easy. Now these bolts do not come all of the way out. They'll only come so far, and you'll feel the point where they won't come any further. They go all floppy. You'll know that it's no longer screwed in. I don't know if you can see that. It's all loose and floppy now, but it won't pull the rest of the way out. Now we move on to the second one. Now generally speaking, these bolts don't rust in. They nearly always come out quite easily. That's 2, number 3. And the final one. Now of course when you go for the final one, you've got 2 problems. First of all, you need to make sure your door is well balanced, and 2, be aware of the fact it can now fall any way at all once the last bolt's out. So just watch out for what's around the door, make sure someone's there to perhaps catch it, or if you're working this job on your own, make sure you're there to support it with your elbow or something, just to make sure it doesn't fall away from you. Now it is possible to undo the hinges from the bodywork side of the car, but if you do that you'll need to realign the door. By doing it at this point you will need almost no realignment whatsoever, because this side of the door does not have much in the way of movement, so it's pretty much lined up to start off with. So all 4 bolts are now undone. I've got limited space and no help here with the door, so all I'm going to do is just pull the door away from the car and just maneuver it to show that it's now free and separate from the car, and we can do whatever we want with it. I'm just wondering if I can, actually I will, I'm just going to put it down the side here. Remember what I said, these doors are incredibly heavy. So that's out the way. That's another job done. And for those of you that are looking to remove your doors for spraying or whatever, that's how you do it. Very quick job. It's what, 2 minutes work to remove a door without any damage whatsoever. So that's it, another video completed. As always, thanks for watching, and I don't think I've got any other reminders this week, so I'll catch you on the next video.